Today's challenge are cards, but we threw a spin on it. It is one sheet wonders. Let me show you how I do mine, or just one way I do mine. Let's get started. Like I said, today's challenge is a one sheet wonder. If you don't like this template, that's okay. My feelings aren't hurt. There are thousands upon thousands. If you just Google one sheet wonder templates, you might not run across a Stampin' Up! One, because lots of people have scrapbook, but I love it because I can take one sheet and make multiple cards out of it. So let me show you the cards we're going to make and our supplies that we're going to use. So we have surprises falling out of them. So these are 4 different, I used one stamp set. I'm like, I don't know if we'll get them all in here, sort of. I used one stamp set and one 6x6 piece of designer series paper and added embellishments. I did some trim and some linen thread, but pretty quick, pretty simple. Let me show you how to do these. Where I got this template design was actually someone, and I don't remember their name, but they were for Stampin' Up! I was at the home office down in Riverton in the spring this year, and someone had done a little display, and I was like, oh, that's a very different one sheet wonder design, and making 4 different, very different looking cards. So I'm like, I'm gonna borrow that from them. Okay, so I will put a screenshot here, or screenshot in, because it has card 1, card 2, card 3, card 4, and then I labeled the card and their pieces. Okay, so we're going to start with card 1. Well, we're going to cut all of our pieces of DSP. This is our Stampin' Trimmer. I love it. The arm extends all the way to 17 inches. It comes out like this. So it makes it really nice if you're doing large pieces. Or it goes in and sticks right here when you have a smaller piece of paper. Okay, again, this is a 6x6 paper. This designer series paper is actually the North Pole delivery paper. What we're using today is not a bundle or a suite. I like the paper and I like the stamp set, so I'm putting together because I can do that. But it's super fun. It actually has animals in it, and then it has cutouts, and we'll see a couple more projects done with this from me for the next couple weeks using this paper. But I love this one with the little letters because it's not, these are Christmas cards or holiday celebration cards. However, the sayings that I put with them don't technically have to be Christmassy or winter holiday. It doesn't always have to be Christmassy. And I also love the diversity of the other side. So these colors do look a little Christmassy, but the diversity of the other side of the pieces of DSP, I'm like, ooh, I think this would be a fun Valentine's one. Okay, so we're going to put it in. Again, this is a 12 by 12 sheet. I cut it down to 6x6, and that's what we're starting with, is a 6x6. But we have a lot of 6x6. I had a brain fart right there. We do have some 6x6 papers. Okay, for our first cut, we're going to cut it straight at 3. And with our paper trimmer, this one right here is our scorer. So this is not going to do anything except put a little line in my paper. This one, the black one, is our trimmer that's going to cut it. Okay, so now we have 2 pieces of 6 length, 6 inches long, 3 inches wide. Okay, we're going to set this piece off to the side because we're going to come back to it, but we're going to flip. We're going to do our first card, and it is going to be 3 inches wide, but we're going to cut it at 2.5. So there's 2.5. Okay, we're going to set this piece off to the side. This is going to be for card number 1. It'll come back. Don't worry. Okay, but now this next piece, and when you look at it, I labeled, when you look at the instruction sheet, I did label card 1, card 2, card 3, card 4, and then what they should be once they're done. Okay, So this is card 2. We're going to flip it around the other side, and we are going to cut, so it's 3.5 inches. Hold please. See, I always, yes, it's 3.5 inches wide, okay, 3 inches long. But we're going to cut it at 2 inches, giving us a 2-inch and a 1-inch. Okay, so this is card number 2. Now we're bringing in our second piece. Again, 6 inches long, 3 inches wide. We're going to cut this one in half at 3 because we live on the edge. 3 inches. Now, with this piece, they're going to be 4 small squares. So because of the paper I'm using and I want to use this side, I don't know, both of them look really, I think I'm going to use this piece. It doesn't honestly matter, but this one, yeah, there's holly berries. But depending on who you're sending it to, and I always like to figure out who I'm sending it to prior to, or while I'm making it, I'm like, okay, who am I going to send this to? Especially when I'm putting the greeting on. Now this is 3 by 3. We're now going to make 4 1.5 by 1.5. So we're going to cut it in half. And then we're going to flip it and do, and you could live on the edge and do them together, but I tend not to do very well when I do that. So there's my 1.5 squares. And I do the same thing for this one, 1.5. And I'm going to set this off to this side. That's card number 3. Now, card number 4, again, you have 3, it's a 3 by 3 square. So this one is a little tricky. So if you're like, what? Rewind the video. We are going to take it and we're going to make an angle cut. So to make an angle cut, and you're going to make the far point down 1.5 inches. Now to cut card number 4, I'm going to put the corner in the track. So it's going to cut it, but then I'm going to move this piece all the way to the edge because I want 1.5 inches. I'm like, which way do I show you? I want 1.5 inches from here to in there. So it just makes an angle. Now, when you're cutting it like this, your recommendation is to move your trimmer part that's going to cut the paper to the middle or somewhat middle. Go up or go down. It doesn't matter. Live on the edge. Go up or go down. And that way it doesn't tear the paper. Okay, so this is piece number 4. These are the pieces that we cut. We have 1, 2. I'm like, which way did I put it? 2. There's 2 pieces there. 3 and 4. We're going to start with this one. So we're going to set all of these aside, but keep them together so you know what goes with what. That way it's not confusing. These are not the regular cards that I typically do. These are smaller. These are great to throw in a gift bag, throw with a present. Now, if you ever get one of these from me, I do love you. However, I know some people are like, there's not very much writing because it's smaller than the other size, okay? These are our note cards. It comes with 20 cards and 20 envelopes. They're already scored for you and cut, so that job is done. So all we need to do is fold it in half. Wait a minute. I didn't show you what stamp set we're using. Okay, we are going to be using, it's called Branching Out. I was a little hesitant about this set because I love so many sets. That's the problem. I'm like, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this, but my budget says no, 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 maybe. This one, I was a little hesitant until I read the greetings. So it's tree or branches, but then we have our like evergreen, we have pine cones, we have snow, we have polka dots. I'm a sucker for polka dots, but these greetings are actually what got me. And then I've seen lots of fun designs done with this, and I'm like, ooh, I do, and I've fallen in love with it. Plus the dies, love the dies. But hold please, let's read through these. We have wishing you a day filled with many happy moments. To a very special someone, send Sent with lots of love from our family to yours. Happiest birthday wishes. Honestly, I can have a winter set with a birthday greeting. Hello. Love that. Thinking of you brings joy to my heart. I love this font for hello. That might have, I was like, ooh, I do love that font. And then just the word friend. Okay. So this is the other part that I was like, ugh. And I actually fell in love with the dies first. And then I looked at the set and I'm like, yeah, I could live with those. So these will actually cut out different size pieces, and they're big to small. Love it. There's this holly berry. I'm thinking about possibly playing with this and this one. I don't know. I haven't cut it out yet, but I was like, ooh, that looks kind of like, or little Christmas lights. I didn't think about that. But then we have the evergreens and then the pine cone. I had this card actually all put together, but not adhered down. And I felt like it was a little too much white, that I wanted to break up the white. So I'm just using, they look like snowfall to me, and I'm just going to stamp all around the card. I don't need to do the middle part because that is where I will, I mean, you can go down, but I'm just going around the edges because my garden green, which is the middle part, is going to cover up most of the middle. But like I said, I just felt like it was too stark white. But if you like it, you don't have to do this step. But I am a sucker for, oh dear, I'm a sucker for polka dots. There we go. So my stamping, as far as this part is done, so I'm going to put my pool party, close it up, and say good night to it, or good morning, or goodbye. And I'm ready to now take my designer series paper and I'm going to adhere it to my garden green. Okay, so you're just going to use Stampin' Seal. We're just going to go around, or just put it on the side. But I do, and if this is you, oh, I didn't tell you how big the green pieces of paper is. So the green is 3 1/4 by 3 3/4. Okay. Now, if you wanted to go side to side, cut it down. I am not a side to side girl when it comes to DSP or like putting cardstock on my front cards. I like to have the space around it. It just looks a little bit more layered, a little bit more polished to me. But you're more than welcome to cut that down. I just wanted a little green. So I'm going to bring it back in here. Oh, get my scrap piece of paper out of the way. And I'm going to now use the saying, happiest birthday wishes. Okay. I'm going to stamp that. I could stamp it in garden green, but my Memento ink is just a good basic black. I am, though, going to stamp it before I seal it down, because sometimes do we stamp straight? Sometimes I don't. Ooh, I did pretty good. It is a little high, but we can work with it. Okay. But that's okay. Sometimes you don't want things a little low. Oh, that'll work. It will totally work. Not super high. Okay, so now I'm going to seal this down with my Stampin' Seal. And when I use this, I like the Stampin' Seal Plus. It seems to work better with me. I know it's a little bit more pricier, but I'm just a corner kid. I put a little on each corner. Now I'm going to put it down so there is a little border on each side, on all 3 sides. I'm going to bring in my, isn't this so cute? Oh, well, I was just holding it. I don't know why I had to show you the card. This is called, oh, Fluffy Trim. I'm like looking at all the different languages going, what is it called again? It's fuzzy and it's a little bit thicker than I thought it was going to be. Hello, Fluffy Trim. The Fluffy Trim, I'm just going to measure. So it's a little past the garden green paper. Okay, because I'm going to wrap it around and adhere it to the back. So we'll trim that off. And I debated about how to adhere this. I was a little nervous that the Stampin' Seal wouldn't work. and it'd stick, and then I'd fight with it, and then I'd get white fuzzies everywhere, and then I'd be sad. So I thought our Tombow would probably be our best bet, because with a Tombow, it's liquid glue and I can move it around. So I'm actually just going to put it right at the bottom. Now with Tombow, the secret is to let it go, but you don't need a ton. You do not need a ton of Tombow. Okay, so I just put a little smear of glue. That's probably the wrong way to use smear. And then I am going to just put it down. But I want to make sure I can see happiest birthday. And that it's straight. Oh, this is why I use Tombow. So I did cover up just a little of the DSP, but that's okay. Okay, then I just press it down. Then I'm gently going to flip it over. And then I'm going to put a little Seal Plus here. You could use a glue dot. You could use more Tombow. I just want to make sure. I felt if I cut off the white trim right at the edge, it would start to fray, but that's the sewing person in me. So I'm like, let's just cut a little bit extra, and then we can just seal it down. So just like that, okay? We're almost done with card number 1. Then what we're going to do is we're going to use Stampin' Dimensionals. Because the fluffy trim is a little fluffy, and it's going to sit up, I didn't want to flush against and kind of start, and the puckering's not the right word, but popping up, I guess, is a better word. So by adding the dimensions, it won't do that. So when it's a small piece, I put maybe 2, maybe 3. When it's a larger piece, I always put 1 in each corner and then at least 1 in the middle so the middle does not fall down. And then we're going to flip it over and add it to the front of our cards in, oh, just kidding, in the middle. Okay, before you push it down, make sure it's where you want it. Push it down, but we're not done quite yet. We need to add some embellishments. I have to find them first. These are called Dear Dots. Aren't they the cute? Like, part of me, I'm like, I want to come up with the names to all of this. So the colors that are in this, there's a lot of different colors. And that's the other reason why I like this DSP paper. Because just sometimes I pick DSP and I'm like, oh, I don't have that cardstock, or I have to buy that cardstock. But this one, pretty much every single color that's in it, I already had, because they're my favorite colors. But in this DSP paper, there's Basic Black, Cajun Craze, Cherry Cobbler, which is a little bit, this is supposed to be Cherry Cobbler, but a little bit lighter, Crumb Cake, Early Espresso, Flirty Flamingo, Garden Green, which is this one, Gray Granite, Pecan Pie, Petal Pink, which is this one, Pool Party, Poppy oh, just kidding. Maybe this is supposed to be Poppy Parade, not Cherry. That makes a lot more sense. This is more Poppy Parade. Pumpkin Pie and Very Vanilla. That's the colors. However, they did not say or write on there our basic white, and the base of this one is white. So that's why I went with my white colors. We're going to bring in my Take the Pick tool. And this is very helpful when you are trying to get embellishments off of your thing, so you don't have to use your nails. I've seen some people use tweezers or their scissors. This one, you just gently roll the putty and it's going to come out of here, and then press it down and press it down. There we go. And pick it up. Okay, and our eyes like threes, so I'm going to do 1 big one, and we're going to go with 2 small ones. Now, on my example, I use the Pool Party, but I'm like, I kind of like the Poppy Parade. Okay, so there's the first card right there. Here's our second cards. So card number 2 on your One Sheet Wonder outline. This one is actually going to be, we're going to make a banner out of it. So we're using this piece, we're going to cut it as a banner, but I'm going to flip this piece out, or over, excuse me, and make a little bit shorter banner with it adhered onto a garden green, garden green cardstock piece. Okay, so but we're gonna put this off to the side. We're gonna do our stamping first. So again, I felt when I was putting this together, I felt like there was too much white space. So I put Early Espresso. So these are the polka dots ones. Early Espresso. And we're going to bring in another note card and fold it in half. I'm folding that in half. And I'm just actually going to do this corner. I did one and it was polka dotted everywhere. And I was like, that's too much. And so so I just decided to do just the corners. Okay, so I have my scrap piece of paper and I'm going to put it in, or on it, excuse me. And then I'm going to go out from there and angling it at different angles. Okay, but then, ooh, that was loud, sorry. Then I'm going to bring this back in, be like, okay, yep, that is good. So I started further in and then worked my way out. And then I moved the stamp so it's not the exact same pattern every single time. We are going to, first, I'm going to build my banners. So I'm going to put my big piece. I felt like my big piece needed a little bit, or excuse me, if I was going to do it this way, but I felt like the packages wanted to be a little bit more of the statement and just the grid part, a smaller statement. So I'm going to dovetail the larger piece. I'm going to leave it the same length. So to dovetail, I just cut up to the middle and then I go from corner to corner. Okay, so, and I leave this one the whole length. The next piece, get my scraps out of the way. The next piece, I'm going to do the exact same thing, but I'm going to trim off the top because I don't want it as long. I want my eye to, or I want whoever I'm giving it to, their eye not to, I want it to be able to move around. Does that make sense? There's my piece. So my large banner, I'm going to put right in the middle. And I played with this before I adhered it down. This piece right here is, because I totally just measured it, this piece is 2.5 by 4. Yep, 2.5 by 4. So just to go right in the middle right there. So I'm going to put this piece down. And now I'm going to decide how long I want this piece. So, and which spacing do I want it? So I'm thinking I'm going to cut it off at the 3rd line down because that makes sense to me. And I always can go shorter, but I can't add it on. So if it's too long, I can take one more off. Let's see how I like that. I don't like it because, well, okay, this is my eye. Do you see how this piece is lined up with this piece? So I'm actually going to, do I want to take 1 or 2? Ooh, let's do 1.5 right in the middle. Why not? 1.5. More little squares off because that is an exact measurement. Thank you, Stampin' Up, for helping. Nope, we're going to take another little piece off. And pretty soon I'm not going to have anything. But I'm going to stop there. Less is more. Stopping there. Okay, so there's our pieces, right? Our DSP, our papers already. We need to do the sentiment, and then we can lay everything out. For the sentiment, I chose Scent with Love. I'm like, oh, how cute is that? But I didn't like how big the circle is. I brought in a scrap piece of Garden Green, and I'm actually just going to make a half. I'm not going to punch it all the way down. So this punch, at least circles, there's an X right there. So I put the bottom of the paper right at the X and I just punched half of it. Now, woo, could I have punched a whole circle and cut it in half? Yes, because that makes so much sense. But my brain wasn't, and I lied, we need our Early Espresso. My brain wasn't thinking that way. Plus it's a straight line. And I like to use my brain in different ways. Okay, I'm going to stamp with Scent with Love, but I want to have it so there's still a little on top. Scent with Love. Look how cute. I love the font. I was not like a two font situation stamper. Like I liked everything uniform, but recently I've noticed I do like the two where it's print and then cursive. Maybe because I'm realizing cursive is an old person. Excuse me, a mature person. Sometimes I write in cursive and the younger generations are like, I don't know what that says. And I'm like, oh dear, that's not good. Okay, our next step, we are going to make a double bow. This is our Early Espresso linen thread. It came with Gathering Together Sweet, had old olive and Early Espresso. And since it has this color, I didn't want to put the trim on this because it's a little too much. It's too thick in my opinion. So I'm like, let's bring in some linen thread. So to do a double bow, I'm going to fold my linen thread in half. You can do a single bow. I just like the way double bows look. I'm going to fold it in half, and now I'm going to make my bow, if it will cooperate. So there's my little loop. I'm going to wrap it around and then slide it in. And then once you have your bow, you're going to adjust it so it looks a little more neat, or neater than just sloppy. Okay, now if you're like my bows, I was just checking to see how big compared to this it was. And I'm just going to make them my loops a little bit smaller so it's not overbearing to it. There we go. Okay, then I'm going to trim it off, leave some tails. I always can cut some shorter if I don't like them. And now for my sample, and I probably am the only one that can tell this, is I put a double piece behind it. So maybe you can tell. So I just took my, uh-oh, I lost the bottom. There we go. I just took my piece and cut it like I did with the last card. I just cut it a little bit longer than the piece. Okay, that's good. And then I'm going to not cut myself. Okay, I'm just going to cut it. I'll get this stuff out of our way, and then bring in my small banner and my Stampin' Seal. I'm just going to put pieces on each side. It helps if you put them in the right spot. I'm like, that's a little bit lower than I wanted it. Lay down your linen thread, lift it over, and then fold it to the other side. Possibly. And then just fold it down. Oh, but don't lose it. Okay. It's just a different, and you can leave it just like this if you're like, I don't like to do bows. You can do them. I have faith in you. Okay. Now I want to adhere my bow, but because it's gone missing, found it, put it away. Because it's a bow and it's linen thread, we are going to use our glue dots. These are our glue dots right here. So all I have to do is take my bow and press it. I don't know if you can tell right there, there's a little glue dot. I'm going to press it in, but I'm actually going to put 2 glue dots on it just to make sure the little bow doesn't go anywhere. So I have my 2 glue dots, and you can roll them so people won't be able to see them. And I'm going to put it right in the middle, right there. Okay. Now we are ready to put everything together. So I pop these up on Stampin' Dimensionals. And when I have linen thread, or ribbon, let's get the scissors out. When I have ribbon, I actually will put the dimension, or something that I'm popping up on dimensionals, I will put the dimensional right over it so it adheres a little bit better. Got my extras. Okay, so that is ready for those to be taken off. We're gonna bring in our garden green and flip over our banner and just adhere that down. And we're gonna put it right in the middle. But make sure it's in the middle. It helps if the paper's straight. That's the other thing I love about Stampin' Sale. If it's not straight, again, you can just gently bring it back up and it should not ruin, unless you totally rip it, it should not ruin your paper. Now, if you press down on it and make a commitment, I think that was a keyword in one of my videos. I was like, I kept saying commitment. What? Now I've made a commitment, but it was all lined up, so I was okay making that commitment. Okay, so now I'm going to flip this piece over before I put my smaller banner on it. Put my Stampin' Sale, if I can get it to work. It's working. Bring in my cards. And then I'm putting this right in the middle. Make sure it's in the middle. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to take off my dimensional backings. And I'm going to adhere it. I lined up the tops, but you don't have to. I lined up the tops, and then I also gave myself a little part of this banner on the back side. Okay, now to put our grading, I put a Stampin' Dimensional on this side because I'm going to adhere it to the small banner, but I also want it stuck to the small banner. So dimensional on one side, then make sure you put it on the right side. Well, make sure it's the right side. Mine is the right side of it. Decide where you want to put it. I'm going to put it right there, but make sure it's straight. Okay, there we go. Now, you could be done, but wait, we've got embellishments. So I'm going to bring my Take the Pick tool back in, and on my original one, I just did two. I feel like there was empty space right here, and it was very small. The sentiment was very small, so I'm like, oh, I'm going to fill it with my Dear Dots. So I'm actually going to bring in the pool party because I have lots of the Cherry Cobbler or Poppy Parade. So I'm just going to bring in a different color. I'm just putting one big one on both sides. Oh, it flipped over. Make sure it's the same spacing. Okay, there you go. There's card number 2. Okay, we're on card number 3. This is our 3x3 square, but we cut it into 4s, so each square is 1.5. If there is a design or a pattern on your paper, my recommendation is to match up your design so it flows a little bit better with your card. We are going to use a note card. We're going to use a 3.5 by 3.5 garden green piece to layer this on. And then we have a petal pink circle because here is the example. We're going to put hello friend. How cute is that? I love, and it actually is 2 separate, but I put it together so it goes on the circle. Okay, so we're going to put these off to the side. Again, let's stamp first. Bring in our white note card. And we're actually going to be using Pecan Pie. Pecan Pie is another one of my favorite brown colors to use because, well, I love pecan pie. It doesn't really like me because my mouth doesn't like them. but I still eat it and bother my mouth. Okay, we're just going to do the top and the bottom of this. But make sure when you stamp, you're going all the way down, the first one, but don't tell the person I'm giving it to. I did not go all the way down, but that's okay. Just gonna throw some more there, but you're just doing the bottom parts. And again, you could leave this off. I just feel like it needed a little bit more, less white space, more color, but maybe that's where my design details are in. I like the color. Okay, we're gonna put this off to the side to let it dry. We're gonna bring in our garden green. Oh, just kidding. Since we're stamping, I'm gonna use, you could use pumpkin pie, or pumpkin pie's orange. I guess you could. Pecan pie. Maybe I want both pies. But I like the pop of the black. So on a circle, same size, 1 3/4. And these are 2 different stamps. One's hello, one is friend, and I just put them together. So it was just one stamp. And I'm just going to stamp it in the middle of my circle. Go all the way down. Ooh, so cute. Okay, now we're officially done stamping with this card. And we just need to put these together. So I'm very carefully just going to flip them over. I'm going to put adhesive Seal Plus on, and since it's smaller, I'm just going to do the 2 sides. And you're more than welcome to use Stampin' Dimensionals for this. Okay, I'm gently going to put this down to make sure I did not mess it up because I just picked them up. We're going to use the fluffy trim, so I will actually pop up the greeting because the trim is a little fuzzy. But you're just lining this up, but giving a space. We're going to put the trim right there. Oh, see, remember how I said don't get them confused? I got them confused. Oh, nope. Did I? Nope, I didn't. Look at that. It's like a puzzle, and I so love puzzles. I don't. Okay, well, that's not true. I love like thrillers and mysteries. I do not like putting like puzzle pieces together. I struggle with puzzle pieces, unless it's the border. I can do the border. Or 4 pieces of paper. Okay, there we go. Super simple, that one. But now we're going to bring in our trim and do the same thing that we did on our first card. We're going to trim off a piece just a little bit longer with our scissors. Oh, those got clear across the table. Just trim off a piece a little bit longer. Then we're going to bring in our Tombow again, and I'm just going to put it right down this middle. So we do have blank or empty space right here. I could have moved the squares a little bit closer, but I'm okay with that. So I'm just putting a little, just to get that where I want it. Put it down. In the middle. Okay, and I'm actually going to let that sit for just a second. I'm going to flip over. This is going to go right in the middle, but I'm only going to put dimensionals down on the bottom and the top. So my fluffy trim sits right here. So there is that space, okay? Okay, now that this has sat for like, 10 seconds, I'm going to flip it over. I'm just going to, come on, adhere it down. But while it's over, I'm going to add some dimensionals because this is also popped up. And this is a little bit bigger piece, so I'm going to put one in each corner, or I'm going to put one in each corner. And then I'm actually let's do kind of 2 in the middle. Not that it's super bigger than the other one, but I felt like it needed some more. Okay, so I'm going to take the dimensionals off. And then I'm going to take these dimensionals off. So I'm ready to go. Bring in my card base again. And you're more than welcome to go this way if you want. But I liked it kind of going around. And this one is, after I just told you I don't like these to go hit right the sides. This one does hit the sides. Just like that. It does go all the way across the card. But I felt like it made a little bit more sense to do that. Okay, we're going to put this right in the middle. Make sure it's straight. And now we're going to bring back in our, look how cute these dear dots are. Are we seeing a theme here? And I'm actually going to use, let's use the Poppy Parade one on this one. So again, our eyes like odd numbers. So I'm going to do 3. I'm going to put this one right here. I'm going to use 1 big one and 2 small ones. So we're going to make a triangle. Just like that. Okay, here's the original. And then that's the one we just made. This is card number 4. It's our last one. Remember, this one was 3 inches, but then we cut it on an angle. And as I was cutting it, I paused and I was like, oh, wait a minute. But you know what? We'll see. This one's going to go a different angle. So I went this way, but this one's going to go this way. We'll see which one you like better. Okay. So we're going to bring in, again, Garden Green, because I just thought that was a basic, or looked really good with all of, it just looked very complimentary to these colors. It is 3 1/4 inches wide by 4 1/2 inches long. Is that right? 4 3/4. Okay, it's just going to give us a little border on our note card, just like that. Okay, so what we're going to do, and I'm going to trust myself. I believe in myself. Do I believe in my, hold on. You know what? It's always better to not adhere your paper just in case you're stamping, at least my opinion. I'm actually going to put my paper down to where I would like it because I'm going to stamp on an angle. So this one says, wishing your day filled with many happy moments. I thought this would be a great one for a wedding card, but also as a birthday card or hello, I'm thinking about you card. Okay. So I'm going to make sure that's nice and juicy with my memento, and I'm going to put it right in the middle of this space right here. Okay. So do you see how I put it on an angle? Sometimes when I'm going or stamping on an angle, I move the paper, and so it's straight to me, but the paper's on an angle. Ooh, I did pretty good. Nice job. Okay, just kidding. I did pretty good. Sometimes I'm like, we're going to flip this over because Stampin' Up! Sells 2-sided paper. Let that dry for just a second. We're using our Stampin' Seal Plus again, and I'm going to get all 4 corners on this, and then a little piece this way, just to make sure everything is adhered down correctly. Okay. So I'm going to leave a little border on here because I'm also going to put the fluffy trim, and I don't want to cover up my words on that. So you might look, oh, that seems like a lot of space, but let's add the white. Oh, perfect. I don't know. I kind of like it both ways. I'm glad I made that happy mistake. Okay, with our fluffy trim, we're going to, again, cut it just a little bit longer. Use our Tombow. And now this one is a little bit different because we're going to go on the corner. But I'll show you what I did. So again, just putting the Tombow right on the edge, and you just need a little. So sometimes if it splurts out, I just gently move the Tombow down. Oh, but now which piece was which piece? Okay, so I'm going to put it right there. And I'm going to stick it down and then put my other piece down. And if it's not quite straight, I can fix it. Remember how I said put things on an angle? Or move your paper so it looks straight to, this part is straight to you. Because I'm like, that is not straight. But the nice thing about Tombow is you can move it, and because it takes a few minutes to dry. I thought this would be so cute for the top of a stocking, or for those that celebrate with Santa's hat. I'm like, oh, we used to have a die, and I actually do have it. Do I know where it's at? Not right this second, but it was a giant stocking. It was so much fun to make stuff out of. Okay, now that it's where I want it, I'm going to flip it over and use my Stampin' Seal Plus, and then I'm just going to adhere that so it doesn't pop off. Ooh, okay. This one on the corner, just gently, I didn't pay attention before I put it down, because you do need to put that on an angle, and if you have a little extra, you can trim that off. So, but let me get the rest of them. Okay, and if you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't look right, make sure you flip it over. There we go. Okay, so I have a little extra up here. I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to lift this up just a tad and trim off that piece so we can't see it from the front. Okay, next step is putting Stampin' Dimensionals on the back. So again, I'm going to put them on the corner, and I'm actually going to put them over the trim. Pieces, so I make sure those do stay down. And then some in the middle. I think that, let's do one more on this corner. Oh, just kidding. It says the universe said use two because two came up at the same time. Okay, we're going to take these off, and then we're going to adhere it to our card, add our embellishments, and we are finished. See, I thought I was going to say that and then actually have them all off, but I said it too fast. My fingers are going a little bit slower today. Okay, we're going to put it right in the middle. And then when you're ready to be like, yep, that's where I want it, gently press it down. I mean, we don't want to smush all the dimensionals, but make sure everything, because you do have 4 different spaces with the fluffy trim. And then I'm going to add let's do Pool Party. I used the Petal Pink. So I did one big one and one small one on each side, which I know is not an even number, but I felt like one more was just too much. Oh, but you have to make sure it sticks down. There we go. There's one more. And the very last one. That one's not quite. Okay, there you go. There you have it. Okay, there you go. 2 different angles because I wasn't paying attention. There's card number 4, card number 3, card number 2, and our very first card. There you go. There are 4 cards.
using one 6x6 piece.
I hope you have a great week. Hopefully, I inspired you to get some crafting done, or maybe just a 15-minute break or 20, however long this was, break, but that you relaxed and hopefully you can get some crafting time in this next week. Join us next week. We're going to be on week 9, and we're doing fun little Advent stuff. So enjoy your week, go get your craft on, and don't forget to find your joy. Bye, friends.